Thank you very much, Bradley, for inviting me to speak again at your book launch. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. And not one, but two. It's great. It's very inspiring for someone to, take the experience in life and to share it so generously with us. So thank you for that. I was speaking to Bradley before, as I always do, to understand what made you write this particular book, The Crab. And which, as we saw, is about the crab in a bucket trying to climb out, everybody trying to bring him down. And I was actually quite horrified at Bradley that, how you find yourself being in such a leading position. It's not just the ordinary people, it's even those who are in well-held position, who are finding themselves in this vortex of insecurity, incompetence, and downright jealousy. And I was surprised that you found it both in the corporate world, bad enough, but worse in international organizations. So you can see that this is a pervasive issue, that it encompasses all kinds of, but as we can talk later, yes. I said it for 10 minutes, I'll take my 20 again. And also society and in any organization, and even in our own families and lives, as we quickly discovered. So that's what this book is about. It basically is saying that wherever you may be, as you go through life, constantly there are people trying to bring you down. And as much as it is it's a metaphor, and a powerful metaphor, today I'd like to challenge the metaphor so that because you see, firstly, is it necessarily true that when the crabs are all jostling inside, that they are trying to drag you down? It could well be that they're all trying to get out, right? And they're all scrambling, jostling, because can I say so and so told me? Unless it's an extremely sensitive sexual harassment or something like that, where there's a little bit of whistleblowing, anonymous, that can be encouraged. So the point I'm making is, it's the bucket itself that is oppressive, and not the crabs who are behaving in that way to get ahead, but there are so few opportunities left. The second point is, are we getting a little paranoid right here? That's the other thing. Are we sort of getting paranoid when everybody's trying to pull you down, and rather than focus on what you're good at, you're far too busy wondering what the others are doing to you. I think if you focus on what you're good at and what you want to do, then I think you can overcome. Fortunately, Bradley, I have never had this in my life. I've never been in any organization that has tried to bring me down, because I was very focused on what I need to do. But I do take your point that there are these situations. So, that's the whole thing. And it's not in corporates alone that people bring you down. Take children. What are we doing to our children? How much we bring them down. Now, I was talking today at some other event before I came here. Now a child gets 97 marks in class for an exam. What is the first question the parents ask? Then they go to the parent-teachers meeting, and then they tell them, teacher will something down. Before they ask them, they ask the teacher, did someone else get no competition? You see, at that age. The teacher also, in all innocence, says, now they're laughing. But now, how will I try to pull him down? And the child thinks, I still got 97 marks, and I'm just not good enough for my parents. Who is the person who's ever interviewed a person who's come to you for work, pulled out his grade 8 report, and said, I say, what home science, bloody nonsense is this. So now see, we do this in our homes long before we get to the call. Our own parents are not uplifting us. They are finding reasons to bring you down. You're not good enough, clothes are there, you're fat, you're ugly, you're more there, whatever. That's our culture. And then we are surprised to find ourselves in this situation when we go abroad, when we get into corporates. I don't think I need to overstep this point, but my final point is, just before I get to the final point, on the other hand, are we behaving like the crabs? How open and honest are we about ourselves? We are very busy looking at other people dragging us down, but are we turning the spotlight into ourselves? The whole, and you deal with that very, very, very powerfully in your book. Ask yourself the question, are you seeing the signals in you? It's all very good to point fingers at others. What a nasty fellow am I? Nasty piece of work. Very jealous and all of that. But finally, my point is, don't stay in power. We are not crabs, we have a choice. And very often, we don't exercise our freedom to look beyond the bubble. I mean, after all, we belong to a massive ocean, isn't it? And we restrict ourselves. I've never been in an organization unless I felt that that's the place for me. I left the bank, Bradley, because I realized that the union, I was dedicated to the union, and the union, again, commercial bank union, behaved in a particular way that I thought I'm done with that. So no more bank union for me. But I've been involved in union struggles. I get out. Then I worked in a company in American, that US company that I talked about. My superior, I had taken my whole family to India. They moved to India. They're in a big regional position. My supervisor, some Chinese lady from Singapore, she gave me a hard time. I said, goodbye, I'm going home. I don't want to subject myself to that kind of oppressive corporate world. I'm out of here. And in another company, friends we started again and from. So I'm saying, don't be afraid to leave this oppressive situation, whether it be a company, an organization, or even relationships. Some relationships are holding us back. Now, men, women, holding people back. And that's, I think, that's the problem we face as a country. We are all being held back. And that's the lesson I take, Bradley. And by writing this book, we open our minds to this possibility that it's we who determine what we do in our lives. And so once again, my thank you, Bradley, for writing this book. It's not very often that these topics is brought up. But now that they're brought it forces us to ask some tough questions. And my point is, get set free. Don't be oppressed. And for me, the other metaphor I take from the crab is move sideways. Because there's always not one way, and it's not always up. In a company, you think, just warm the chair, do a few things, move along, play the corporate game, suck up, do all the things. Sometimes you do well, not necessarily, you don't always have to suck up to get to the top. You put in hard work, you do all of that, and you think, I'll suffer through this. Because one day, I'll get to the top. But again, you're lost in the process. How much of your relationship have you lost? Time with your children, time with family, just having a bloody good time with your life. At what cost has this come? So if at all you want to take this metaphor, while talking about all those things, just think of the possibility that you might want to move sideways, and not always forward and up. So with that, Bradley, once again, thank you for bringing this book to us. I wish you all the best in your writing career. And I urge all of us, when there is such a wonderful big ocean, let's not be afraid of the waves. Let's get there, swim, and be free, and enjoy life for what it is. Thank you very much.